Okay, so what were you saying about your book? Why are you writing your book?
I'm writing my book because for all of the things that my parents got wrong, you know, drugs, being absent, fucking there being no electricity sometimes, not a lot of food involved, showbiz was way more important than school, blah, 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 blah. The one thing that they always got unequivocally right was that they accepted me for who I said that I was. And that gives a kid a sense of self-esteem and self-respect. It equips you to survive anything. I'm writing my book because of that, to try to like sneak in via the drama door and be like, actually, the real message is to accept your children and accept your friends and accept people for who they say that they are. When I was 6, I decided that I wanted to be a boy. We were in the park one day and there were these kids playing soccer, a bunch of boys, and I wanted to play with them, and soccer, football, and they wouldn't let me play. And they were like, are you a boy or a girl? And I was like, I'm a girl? And they were like, nah, you can't play. And I was basically like, fuck that. I'm a boy. Can I play now? Because I can play better than you, motherfucker. And I went with my dad and I just was like, hey, I want to be a boy from now on. And then it kind of developed and started from there. And then I lived as a boy for 8 years, from 6 to 14. Kind of everybody in my family was like, we didn't see you as a girl or a boy. We just saw you as Io. There was no notion of like gender dysmorphia or whatever. I was born on 3rd Street in the Bowery, and my parents were all up in the like no wave movement and drag culture. So everybody around them was inventing their identities all the time. The idea that their kid would invent her identity wasn't strange to them.
Can you take off your gloves?
Yes. It was a really stressful experience because there was the reality that I was living, and then there was all the navigation of what that meant to other people. Going to take a piss was a problem, always. I would only use the boys' bathroom, but I would wait until people were out of it so that in case somebody peeked under the stall, they weren't going to see my feet, or like maybe they'd look through the 1-inch. I was like real neurotic at the same time as totally breaking all of the rules. So I developed the skill of not ever having to pee, and that is still something that I'm like, do I have to pee? I had library cards under boys' names. Like, it was a full immersive experience.
What happened, like, in terms of peers and what
I didn't have any friends. I had one friend, and she was from the South Bronx. When I was like 11, I went over to her house one night, and there was another girl there who had a crush on me, and I had a shaved head and like presented fully as a boy. I never thought about being gay. I wasn't a sexual kid. Like, it wasn't about that at all. It was my identity. This girl was like, yo, why aren't you hollering at me? I want to holler at you. Why aren't you trying to kick it to me? And I was like, what? And she was like, why aren't you trying to kick it to me? And I was like, I'm not. Oh, no, it's not like that. And I couldn't explain why she didn't want to have a crush on me, because at the time, the idea of being gay was so far beyond. And then her discovering that I actually had a vagina was like even further beyond what an 11-year-old mind can comprehend. And I was just like, you don't want to get involved with me. And then she was like, I'm sleeping in the bunk bed above you. I'm going to get you later. And I was like, no.
What happened when you were 13? You were about to say.
When I was 13, I moved to Germany. My dad lived there. I went to this school for foreigners that was like Albanian kids and Turkish kids and this one Greek girl who was my first real crush. These 2 Russian girls were like the hot girls in class, and I was totally oblivious to them. And they also were like, yo, why are you not, what's going on here? Why are you not trying to holler at us like every other boy in the class? And I just wasn't interested. And then they both had a crush on me because of that. And at that point, I was like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to lie to people anymore. Like, this sucks. And so I switched schools. And when I switched schools, the summer that I was turning 14, I remember I was biking down the street and I saw my dad. And I was like, hey, I think I want to grow my hair out. I think I want to be a girl. And he was like, okay. I had like a whole gender revelation a couple months ago, where I was like, I think I'm a man on the inside. Like, I know what my body is, and I'm clear on what my genitalia is, but I'm also fairly clear on the fact that, like, if the distinction between gender bending or rule breaking gender-wise and transgenderism is how you feel on the inside, that I'm transgender. Because I feel like a man on the inside, but yet, because of the way that I was raised and never forced into dresses and all of that shit, I don't have the narrative that apparently goes with being transgender where you hate your body. I don't hate my body at all. So I don't fit that box either, you know? But I never fit any fucking box. I'm like the ultimate fucking unicorn, and it's weird and lonely, but I've been doing a project called Selfevident Truths, and I've been traveling the United States photographing anybody who identifies as anything other than 100% straight, to humanize what that community looks like for people that think that they don't know any gay people. And then when I have 10,000 portraits, I'm going to go to the Washington Monument and lay them all out on the National Mall and stage a big march on Washington. The aim of it is to create more empathy via familiarity. We're not some like marginalized freak show. The most incredible byproduct of this thing that I'm passionate about is having kids say, I feel better about myself, I feel more comfortable with myself. Like, it's the best feeling on earth. And I'm taking a break right now to write my book, but next summer I'm going to do the last 1,500, and then hopefully the spring right before the next presidential election will be on the Washington Monument.
So 14, what happened at 14?
I switched to a new school in this small town in Germany, and I looked like a boy. So I came into class and they were like, this is your new, well, because in German there's Schüler, which is student, male student, or Schülerin, which is female student. And they were like, this is the new Schülerin in class. And they were all like, Schüler. And she was like, nah, Schülerin. And all the kids were just like, what? So then that was me standing in front of the class and everybody getting the full dunk right away. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a girl. What the fuck you want to do about it? I mean, what are you going to say, you know? I mean, now, looking back, I wonder if I switched genders back so that I could have a normal social life. Because coming out of such an extreme situation, I wanted to have some sense of normalcy. At the end of that year, I got kicked out of that school, and so they found this boarding school for me in England that was started by this Indian philosopher, Krishnamurti, and it was supposed to be about questioning and openness and freedom. And I thought, great, questioning means questioning the rules. It's questioning yourself. But I didn't figure that out until I got in a lot of fights with a lot of teachers. I got sent to this place that was like a fucking mansion on a hill in the middle of nowhere. I had cornrows because my hair was grown out. And it was a challenge because I looked like a boy, but I was sleeping in the girls' wing, obviously in the dorms of the school. And within 2 weeks, my best friend, she was 19 and she was like the hottest girl in school. She became my best friend because she was depressed that her boyfriend was so far away. And I was like, yo, come on, I'll charm you with my New Yorkness. Like, come on, let's be friends. And I made her laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh until we started telling each other stories about our lives, and we'd stay up all night. And like one day, she was German. She was like, I think I know why we cannot leave each other to go to class. I was like, why? She's like, because we are in love. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, I just switched back to being a girl, now I gotta be a gay girl too. Like, what? I was like, hold up, let me think about this. Just kidding, let's go. And we were like stupid smacked in love. She was the first person to show me what a shower was. I was raised a feral child. I was fucking Mowgli. Like, she showed me how to shave my legs. She showed me what deodorant was. She showed me my body, you know? We had sex for the first time, and she was like, you're beautiful. And I had never heard that. Also partially because if you told me I was beautiful as a little boy, I would have punched you in the nuts. And we were together on and off for 4 years. Yeah, I got kicked out of that school. I went back to New York. I don't know, people were tougher back then. People are such pansies now in their differentness because they don't have to work for it. Nobody has to fight anybody. Nobody has to stand up for anything. They want to be queer and pansexual and demi-romantic and whatever the fuck, but they don't want anybody to challenge them or question them about it. It's so complicated for me because on the one hand, everything that I'm fighting for is that you accept people for who they say that they are and you treat people with dignity and respect. On the other hand, this whole culture of language policing and like everything has to be PC and everything has to be homogenized is sickening to me. Like, everything about gay culture that I love and everything about New York that I love is built from people having to push back against people trying to oppress them. When we refer to brainwashing or we refer to the machine, it's as if there is this big spaceship filled with the people pushing buttons and controlling things, and everybody else is the minions. But the truth of the matter is, the machine is perpetuated every day by every girl sitting at a desk who turns around and looks at her coworker and goes, "Oh, what's that? What are you wearing? Why are you doing that? Oh, go get your bush waxed. Oh, like, do your eyebrows." You're not just a sheep. When you make other people feel less than for not participating, then you have become the machine. I say, do whatever you want to make yourself feel good. If you feel like you need that Birkin bag, get the Birkin bag. You have your own voyage to discover what makes you feel good, and like whatever that is, that's your business. But when you put that shit on other people, then you become the machine.
Can you elaborate now on what you were saying in the last 6 months, that you feel inside like a man? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean exactly?
I was having this conversation with my project manager for the project. It's for Selfevident, and he's like 6'3" and broad and hairy and always wears nail polish. And I was like, what if I'm a man? And he was like, look, I mean, the difference is I may wear nail polish, I can wear makeup sometimes, I'll occasionally be known to put on a dress, but when I go to sleep at night, I'm a man. And I love being a man, and I'm in my body, and I love that. It's down to how you see yourself. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm a man. The line for me is that I don't want to change my mind, my mental chemistry. I don't want to change my emotionality. And if hormones are going to do that, then I don't want to do that. If I could just snap my fingers and tomorrow have a man's body, I would do it. I guess in my own head, I've always thought of transgenderism as like a physical in-between place, and I'm really, really, really learning to understand the emotional in-between place. But then that begs the whole question, what is a man? And what is a woman? And Absolutely. How much of that is societal bullshit anyway?
Absolutely.
So why would I have to change my body to fit somebody else, like another norm? None of the labels fit me. None.
When do you feel the most vulnerable?
I used to feel the most vulnerable when I had to go to the bathroom in public. And now I'm kind of like, whichever one's open, I'm going to go in. I go in the women's bathroom, I'm like standing up straighter and like more smiley and more like girly. And then if I go in the men's bathroom, I'm sure as shit hunched over and like trying to keep my head down and just like be in and be out. On the one hand, everybody in there's just trying to take a piss. This is not like a big political theater stage, you know? Like, I don't need to get into a big debate with people about the politics of gender in the bathroom every time I go to take a piss. That being said, changing my behavior to suit the system, I don't know. There's no time of the day if I'm in public where there isn't somebody trying to figure out what I am. And that's exhausting. And sometimes, you know, you have the energy to be gracious about it when a kid goes, "Mommy, what is that?" right in front of you. And then sometimes you just want to be like, "I'm a fucking girl," or "I'm a fucking boy," or like whatever, you know? It's exhausting.
Can you talk about why in your body is a good place to be?
I've always had a real rough and tumble relationship with my body, and I love that. I love what my body's capable of. I love that, like, there's nothing that a boy can do that I can't do.
How do you feel?
Great.
Good. So I'm gonna take, that was amazing. I'm like, woo.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
So, thank you.
Sure.
That was awesome.
Yeah.